Welcome back, everyone. This is my editor. His name's Brett, and he's totally not my prisoner. I do not keep him chained to a chair in front of my computer all day while I write, and then I hand him it and I say, here, edit this. I totally do not do that. He is totally not my prisoner. I don't keep him chained up in my closet because we don't have a basement here because we're in Florida. No, but actually he's a great guy. He is super talented. He's an actor. He did a reading of my book, and that video is going to be posted soon. So, yes. By the way, holy crap, he had, like, no preparation for that. He had, like, none. He, like, literally, we were hanging out. I asked him to read it because I wanted to see his, like, acting skills. He did. And I see my husband in the corner just, like, laughing. It's like, oh, my God. Like, my husband's not a reader, okay? He doesn't read books. He doesn't read romance, and he sure as hell doesn't read vampire romance, but he got him to laugh at my books, which you're supposed to do, because some of the stuff's actually really funny, because I'm a good writer, and I know how to make people laugh, and I'm cute. Anyways, yeah, so, I wanted to share that with you guys. That's why I did the video. Anyways, let's get on to the topic at hand, which is me and my books. And Brett being an amazing editor, of course, and not my prisoner. Okay, so Brett, let's start talking about my characters. Who's your favorite and why?
Lucas. I think I relate to him the best. He's one of the shorter ones, being 5'5".
Yes.
That's
He's actually shorter than you. He's like 5'3", 5'2". Yep. Yep. He's a short king. So what about his personality do you like and relate to?
He has a mean streak, but I mean, it's
You're like a teddy bear. How are you?
Well, that's what makes it a streak, as opposed to him having a mean personality.
Yes. Yeah, okay, true, very true.
You push him too far.
Very
or
true.
If you know.
Fair, totally fair. I definitely have that. Continue. But yeah. So, okay, what do you think about Quinn? Oh, also, by the way, this might contain spoilers, so just proceed with caution. Also, a slight trigger warning. We might be discussing some kind of dicey topics like abuse, like grape with an R at the beginning instead of a G, if you get what I'm saying. Because YouTube's weird about this stuff. So if we're going to refer to that, we're going to say grape or graped. All right. So we're going to be discussing maybe a little bit sensitive topics. If you're not in a place right now where you can handle that, that's totally cool. Click away. Go watch him being amazing and reading and just being awesome, or go watch me being awesome, or go watch my friend Jonathan Connors, also Rambling Collector, do a review and talk about how amazing my books are. All right, so yes, tell me more. What do you think about Quinn?
Quinn, I like Quinn. I mean, he's sort of the established authority figure, and well, I love that. In addition to that, he's got a vulnerability to him. He's not always completely in control, and there's times when he entirely loses it. But you actually do this really well. You never shame Quinn or Lucas for doing that sort of thing, and that's all too rare. Believe me, today. That's part of what I really love about Quinn.
And that was intentional, because I know for a lot of times, like, the biggest emotional reaction I get from my books usually is older guys, like really old guys. Like, I have seen old men break down in front of me, and the reason they've given is because Quinn has been in vulnerable positions. Quinn has been a victim. Quinn has dealt with serious abuse, and yet, and I mean, you see him like cry and be vulnerable, and yet I don't take away his man card. I don't make him like a little sway boy. I don't, he is still a badass. He is still someone who will murder and rip the head off of anyone who hurts his loved ones. He is still a freaking badass, and he was hurt, and he was abused, and he has moments where he's vulnerable, and he has emotional needs. Imagine that! A man having emotional needs? Brett, do you have emotional needs?
Of course.
See? Emotional needs. I have emotional needs. You have emotional needs. We all have emotional needs. Anyways, okay. What about Rianne? What do you think of Rianne?
I enjoy her. I love that the same thing. You allow her just that much strong emotion, but there's also a strength with her. It's it's not just a huge ball of tears or constantly breaking down. It's difficult to describe, honestly. The thing is, there are parts of River's vampire, werewolf, and zombie mythos that follow quote unquote established expected rules. And there's a lot of parts that don't. And
They don't
the original
sparkle.
parts, oh yes, wait,
Well,
no,
there's
yeah, no,
one
yeah.
part where they're sparkling, but that's just
Yeah.
because Lucas got into the glitter.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
other than that,
that's,
no sparkling.
Yeah, there are there's numerous things, but the originality is one of my favorite bits about editing you.
Thank you.
When, it's fun. It really is.
Oh, yay! Am I a good boss? Ish
Yeah.
person,
Oh, yeah.
writer to do things for?
Of
Am I
course.
fun? Yay! Yay! He likes me. maybe I could maybe I could lessen. I don't even know. Anyways, okay, let's talk about
She's a love. She
they them. Remember they them
they
non-binary.
have.
See, I know.
Happy polyloggies, as my pal little Alex would put it.
I know it can be very confusing.
They
Yes.
are.
I know it's very confusing. I'm very femme presenting. I fool a lot of people. I'm not a real woman. Okay. Anyways, what do you think of Natalie?
Can honestly say, never met a character like her.
Why?
Not only, and this is part of why the spoilers. So if you watch this far, you paddled your own canoe. To have an actual undead character, not a vampire, a zombie, that is physically attractive, as Natalie is.
Yes.
As well as other things that I won't get into, but
Like being
it's,
transgender?
well, there we are.
She is gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah.
Continue.
It's, I mean, to have that kind of a character, and of course to have the emotions that she does over the things that she does. Yeah, it's fun reading River's books, and then getting to tell it's like this is spelling here and some bits of the grammar and.
I mean, but no, Brett's an amazing guy. He's an amazing editor, and yeah. And it's also really great because Brett is into my books. Like, he likes them. Like, this is the crazy thing to me, is that people actually like my books. Despite me coming off as kind of like super confident and cocky and kind of a bitch. I actually suffer a lot with imposter syndrome. So when I have people like Brett in my life telling me how much my work means to them and telling me that they like my work and getting to have these conversations with him, it is so helpful to me, and it really boosts my confidence, and it kind of helps me to push forward. And this is the thing about self-published authors, is that a lot of people look at our books and they don't often see a professional cover, okay? And that's been a real I guess struggle for me and other authors that I've seen. I will see these gorgeous setups at like conventions or book fairs or whatever.
For some of the worst dreck
Yes.
you've ever presented me to read.
Yes. So
Ever. For someone who has a great love and respect for the English language, but literally one of the worst, most incomprehensible things that I have ever written was a piece of
Red.
self-published.
Yes.
I can't even really call it literature. It was a perfect example of what Truman Capote meant when he said, "That's not writing; it's just typing."
All right, let's give him a little context. So he's actually citing a very specific event that happened. And I've had events like this happen to me before, and I've had it happen since. So here's the whole context. I was doing this, like a table at a farmer's market. And this is back when I lived in Illinois. And there was this, and I had my table set up. It was a very nice but simple, inexpensive setup because I'm not made of money. And my book sold surprisingly well, okay? Like, I went into it with my expectations through the floor, okay? And I sold 12 books. That is like unheard of for a self-published author. That is insane. That is God tier numbers, okay? For a person who's self-published and just starting out as an author. And there was one book that outsold me, all right? One book. And there were a lot of other authors at this event. And this book that outsold me, I'm not going to give the name. I'm not going to give the author. I was so mad, and I sent, little snippets of these books to my friends, Brett being one of them. Brett, without giving away,
almost not a friend after that.
without giving away the title or the author or really any identifying information, can you kind of clearly explain what was wrong with this book and specifically why this was so bad?
The worst of it is I really can't, because it was truly that incomprehensible. The person who typed this out had no idea of sentence structure, spelling, grammar, the things that would even make a decent typist, let alone a teller of stories. Whatever kind of story they were trying to convey, I never got. I never got.
Yeah, so this was really bad, and he's not the only guy that's like freaked out over this. My friend, Rambling Collector Jonathan Connors, also read this, and I sent him the snippets, and if I bring it up to this day, he gets livid. Like, I can't believe that piece of garbage, I can't believe that beat you out. You want to know why it beat me out, though? It's quite simple. She had a gorgeous display. She had a raffle. She was a salesperson. She was charismatic. She walked around like a celebrity, and people fell for it. Her display was gorgeous. Everything was so professional. You could have sworn that she was part of a publishing house with how nice this looked, but she wasn't. And again, this was just incomprehensible dribble. And she outsold me. And that, can I be really super honest right now? That kind of hurt. Like, it really actually hurt. I know it's not good to take a lot of this stuff seriously or too personally, but it's hard when my books are so personal to me. Okay? Another thing that I keep hearing from people is like, you need to look at your books like it's a product. You need to sell your books. You need to sell yourself. And that's hard for me because my books are personal to me. They have a lot of things that are based on real life events and real traumas for me, and I don't want the reader to walk away feeling sad. I want the reader walking away feeling empowered and hopeful. And like, if you're going through a situation where you're recovering from trauma, you've been through trauma, you're going through trauma, I want you to walk away from my books thinking like, maybe it's not okay right now, maybe it's not going to be okay, for a while, but eventually it's gonna get okay. I'm gonna find my people. And I really try to do this in a way that's not patronizing, that's not talking down to the reader, and in a way that can, that honors the trauma, in a way that honors the pain, that honors the heartache, and that doesn't just push it to the side in favor for a happy, super happy ending, because that's not my story. That's not what happened to me. I came out of it okay. I am still working on my mental health. I am still working on healing. So, and when people would come to talk to me, I'd be open. I'd explain to them. I'd tell them like, hey, this is what my story's about. This is what I'm about. This is what I write. And yeah, 12 people bought my books. That was amazing. That was insane. But then to see people kind of like buy more of this other author's books, I felt, I know I shouldn't be taking this as personally as I do, but I do. I felt like my story was unwanted. And I've seen this time and time again. I've seen it where you will have authors with these gorgeous, elaborate, expensive setups, the book's just maybe it's not bad, it's just bland and dry or has a problematic message. And it just makes me feel like my books are unwanted. It makes me feel like my stories are unwanted. And it sucks. It makes me feel hopeless because I don't have the money to compete with these authors. Because that's what it takes. The person with the best stand, the person with the most money wins. So I guess what I'm going to ask you guys at the end of all this, I'd really, really, really appreciate it if you are at a convention, if you are at a book signing or at a farmer's market and you see an author and their setup is a little bit plainer, might not look as super professional, please give them a chance. Give them a chance. And it's not just me, it's other people. Like I'm reading this book right now by Stevie Joe. I forget what the title is, but I'm going to do another video about it at another time once I finish the book. But what I'm reading this book, the cover, yeah, it's a self-published author cover. Let me just put it that way. But the writing, the book, the story, it keeps my attention. It is so good. I am invested in these characters. I am invested in this world. And God, the world building. The world building that this woman does is amazing. And like, you know, if I hadn't been like recommended this book, or if someone hadn't told me about this book, I probably would have been like, nah, it doesn't look super great. But it is. And I also read this other book that was, you know, professional publishing house. And, you know, she got it professionally edited and the cover's gorgeous. At the book fair, or at the convention thingy, she had a gorgeous setup. I read the book. It's not like bad. It's just kind of boring. It's kind of bland. It's like, I don't really care about these characters. It almost feels like she's asking us to have more of an emotional attachment to these characters right off the bat instead of taking the time to build that. But the way she's like, and like also the pacing, it's so slow, and I can't finish it. It's not keeping my attention. Maybe it's just not my genre, but it's, you know, it's confusing. And like I said, please give other authors who might not have the money for a super flashy stand, give us a chance, because you might be surprised. Also, when we have a plainer stand, you know what that means? That means more money is going to editing. That usually means more money is going to editing. That means this guy gets paid, okay? Guys, listen. It means he gets paid, okay? That means we can pay our editors fairly. That means we can pay our artists fairly. And it just kind of sucks because it feels like we get punished. Okay, I know, I didn't mean to go on this huge rant. Anyways, Brett, please, talk. What do you like about editing in general, not just my books?
Oh, well...
You got this.
I love when you've got somebody good to work with who will actually listen to you. It's a pleasure working with River. I mean, there are others that, you know, less so, but it's I mean, when you have a good gig, it's a joy. It's just flat a joy, and at times even with them being so open to ideas that I've had, it was like something that you might have considered. You know, I know that you have this particular item, and I know why you want it to be this particular item. Would you consider something like this and just do a couple of sentences, and when they respond, "Oh my God, yes, that's it, that's great, it's
it's really important.
It's gratifying. It's
really
validating.
Aww.
It's all kinds of things.
It's really important as an author to listen to other people, because one of the things that I see a lot of self-published authors do, and a lot of especially new authors, are like, I don't need an editor. I know what I'm doing. I just need to write it out, and then I'll have like 60,000 words, and it's ready to publish. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna be famous. No. You need to listen to the people who give you criticism. Now, there's a difference between constructive criticism and not constructive criticism. Listen to me. Constructive criticism is when people do not put your work down. It's when they say, hey, this is good, but this part can be improved. Or, hey, this is good, but this part needs some clarity. You know, it's not, and then like non-constructive criticism is, your book sucked. Like, why would you do this? It's so stupid. Like, I was so bored. Like, you know what I mean. And I like, kind of like how I was talking about those other books. That is not constructive criticism. It's not even criticism. It's just me telling you how I feel. And you know what? It's valid. If people read your books and it's like, it's not for me, that's totally fine. That's totally valid. If people read my books and like, it's not for me, valid. Like I said, my husband, not really into vampire romance. That's totally fine. He's still an amazing person. He's still super supportive in other ways. I'm going on another tangent. Anyways, yeah, you get what I'm trying to say. You need to be able to, you also need to be able to tell the difference between constructive and non-constructive criticism, because a lot of times, myself included, a lot of people I know can have this like inferiority complex where we feel like everything we do is bad, not because it's bad, but it's just because we do it and we're just trash. That's just how, do you ever feel that way?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've felt that way before.
And one of the things...
Not a good feeling.
No, it's not. And one of the things with writing, I kind of used it as an exercise in self-love, because I learned to love my characters, I learned to love my writing, I learned to be more secure in my writing and my abilities, and that has made it a lot easier for me to open up and accept criticism. Even criticism I don't always agree with, because I don't always agree with everything he says. But there are some things where he'll be like, here, can you try it this way? I'm like, you're a genius! And there'll be other times where he'll do a thing, it's like, you know what, I don't really think, that's not really what I'm going for, it's not really what I'm trying to communicate, but maybe for another book or something. This was really random. I don't know what I'm going to call this video. What should we call this? Give me a name.
The author and the editor.
Ooh, we should do a series. Dude, we gotta do a series. The author and the editor, this is perfect. This is why I love this guy. He's so good. See, he's also really good because he brings out a side of me that's like really charismatic. I'm like, bah! Because I suck at doing solo videos. If you've seen my other videos, they're train wrecks. They're really cringy because I'm just not good at public speaking. But if I have a person where I feel less alone on camera, I can be way less awkward. Oh yeah, that's
the videos are fine.
Thank you for saying that. You're very kind.
They are. Well, perhaps I am, but I mean, but I'm not trying to be. It's just.
I get it. So yeah, we're gonna talk and brainstorm and everything, and hopefully we'll be able to come up with more content and more stuff to talk about and more advice for aspiring authors and perhaps editors, and also how to navigate this relationship, because relationships where you have this creative thing and then you have someone looking at it from a more analytical perspective can be really complicated. And if you don't have someone who you work well with, it can be a nightmare. Like an absolute nightmare. There's so much stuff that goes into writing. There's so much stuff that goes into publishing. And so much of it is emotional. And we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about the emotions that go into this. We don't talk about the anger, the frustration, the jealousy. Oh my God, jealousy. Authors, self-published authors, we are some of the most jealous, petty, vindictive sons of bitches you'd ever meet. Why? Because most of us are really, really insecure. And anytime we see someone else writing competently, it's like, this is an attack on my work. This means my work isn't good. Their work has to be worse than mine. My work has to be the best work out there. And if anyone else is better, then I'm trash. Then I'm just trash. There's no in between. I'm either the best thing in the world or the worst. There is no middle ground. Yeah, I mean that's just kind of thought process for most people, and myself included. But listen, you gotta grow, you gotta learn to be nice to yourself. You gotta learn to be really nice to yourself, forgive yourself, and all that stuff. And we're gonna talk more about this because if I keep going, I'm gonna go on another rant, and this video is gonna be an hour, and you don't want that. Okay? Bye, everyone. Love you. Mwah. Say goodbye.
See you.
All right. Bye, guys.